Alright, all this talk about gaming sort of makes me think, especially on Twitter, even though I'm mostly an Instagram user, what is an Xbot? I keep hearing that term like thrown out like crazy all over Twitter. So let's pull out Urban Dictionary. An Xbot, what is it? A person who is blindly, fanatically loyal to Microsoft will immediately buy anything with the Xbox logo and mindlessly insults anyone who does not share their fanaticism and would proclaim a blank disc with Halo scribbled on it as the greatest game ever made. Rarer than the Nintendrone, but no less lame. So that's what an Xbot is. That is pretty much hilarious, but very accurate. I'm not that because I'm the first person to call out Halo for its flaws and Xbox for its flaws. It hasn't been doing Xbox has been doing that well outside of Game Pass, and even then Game Pass doesn't have every good game anyways. But I started on PC, so that's probably why I'm not as biased as the next guy. And I didn't like Forza. So PlayStation wise, I did play God of War, I did play Spider-Man, I did play Last of Us, and I did not like The Last of Us, but that's just because of how I am. I don't really like horror games that much. Like I tried another game called Dead Space, and that had the pace of Last of Us, of how slow it was, and I didn't like it. I finished it, but I didn't. It's not my preference. God of War, I'm missing just the trophy where you beat the Valkyrie Queen to platinum, but that one was a very amazing game. I watched my brother play the classic ones, and I only played four, and it was really great. Spider-Man, I actually platinumed the first one with all DLCs. That one was a challenge, but it was pretty good. Highly recommend it. My controls are messed up because I was playing MCC and I keep thinking that the red button is my melee, but in reality it's my bumper that's the melee on Infinite. I did get every achievement off here, but yeah, that's what an Xbot is. And I see these guys argue all the time on Twitter. I don't, for some reason, I don't see them on Instagram. That's the hilarious part. It seems like people on Instagram are less toxic compared to Twitter, because Twitter is mostly opinionated people and that sort of thing. They'll say, well, Xbox has backwards compatibility, Xbox has Halo, Gears, Forza, Game Pass, this and that. But Halo hasn't really delivered as much as we all hoped it has. That's why we're seeing still content updates for MCC despite Infinite being out. And what's it called? You gotta ask yourself this question: how does that compete with God of War Ragnarok directly? Like, we're barely getting co-op. We're now getting level select and stuff like that, so that's good. And Forge and stuff like that with the insider previews. I just don't get how people just blindly like support stuff, whether that be the X bots, what you call them, PlayStation fanboys. I saw something called Nintendrone on that Urban Dictionary definition. I've never heard of these terms. The only one I'm aware of is Xbot, and that was just through Twitter. I'd never see anyone on Instagram using that term at all. But it makes sense because people, they just are negative and they want to hate on other people who are not either playing the same thing they're playing or playing on the same thing they're playing. I see a lot of toxic PlayStation fans as well. They'll go and they'll insult Xbox for whatever it is. But the ironic part is that the only people I rarely see, like I don't see at all, fighting on social media is gonna be the Nintendo people. That's intriguing because it's like maybe they just like what they got. and they don't really have a reason to whatever. You're probably wondering, well, how are you open to this if you say you started on PC but now you're just Xbox? Well, I owned a PS4 and my family also has Switches, so I had to mess with that. And my brother has a PS5, so you get the idea right there. But I just like my consoles because, as I stated in my why I left PC gaming video, is they're just simpler to use than a PC. But I'm not gonna hate someone who plays on Nintendo or PlayStation just because there's no reason to do that. Just let them enjoy what they want, where they want, and let them play what they like. They're not hurting anybody. And that's all I have to say about Xbots and fan bases.